Salutare! Mă numesc Liliana Florea și sunt fondatorul companiei Pomul. Ca specialist m-am educat și m-am format aici, acasă. Aici am făcut și studiile, iar experiența am acumulat-o tot în Republica Moldova. Am reușit să administrez și să formez câteva afaceri de succes. După o perioadă lungă de cercetări, am procedat inteligent și am format compania Pomul, care la momentul actual crește o roadă generoasă pe o plantație de nuci de 150 de hectare, cu soiuri și cu agrotehnologii moderne. Am avut câteva vizite de studii peste hotare și asta m-a ajutat mult ca să gestionez corect afacerea pe care am început-o. Deși țara noastră exportă cantități mari de nuci și are plantate mii de hectare de pomi, se atestă un deficit de experiență și de cunoștință în domeniul instruirii noii generații de practicieni experți în acest domeniu. Iată de ce am hotărât să organizez o serie de interviuri cu experți din domeniu, specialiști, consultanți, fermieri cu experiență, cu școli și practică internațională și locală. Sper că ei vă vor răspunde la cele mai importante întrebări din domeniul nostru și vor ajuta la crearea unei clase agricole noi, cu și pentru tineri specialiști, poate chiar și amatori, care vor să dezvolte o afacere fructuoasă în domeniul nostru, a nuciculturii în Republica Moldova. Așadar, putem începe sesiunile de întrebări și răspunsuri. Bună ziua! Astăzi avem invitat expertul francez, Pascal Gouget. Este un expert în nucicultură, plus este fermier care are o livadă de nuci. Astăzi vom discuta despre situația din Republica Moldova, vom discuta despre situația din Franța și în lume.
Thank you, Lilian, for this introduction. It's a real pleasure for me to be here. Moldova is so beautiful in this season,
Yes,
usually. I live in the southwest of France, near Toulouse, Bordeaux, southwest, and I was born in this place, and I have a farm with about 50 hectares. Now it's 45 hectares of orchards, 30 of walnut, 15 of hazelnuts, but my passion is walnut. My passion come when I was at school. I learned how to manage orchard, and one time I work with Mr. Germain in Bordeaux, in Nava, in France. It's where they multiplicate some varieties, and one time arrived. So I have already a passion for this culture, but one time arrived in a beautiful orchard, and it's like if I fell in love with this tree, with this kind of tree, and all the time I was thinking something very interesting, In my area, like everywhere in Europe, South Europe, but everywhere, there is a lot of walnut, wild walnut around the fields. And when I became a farmer, I decided to plant walnut.
When it was what age you were?
It was in 1988.
1988, when you plant first?
1989, just 1 year after.
Did you do some farming before? Did you
No,
do some?
I started
with the orchard. Okay. Did you? I mean, you told that you learned in a school. Did you have some agricultural education?
Yeah. My father was a agriculture. Was a farmer. He grew hazelnuts. It's why I was with Mr. Germain, because he works on walnut and hazelnuts. I was with him because of hazelnuts. Finally, I changed to walnut, and so my father farmed hazelnuts and dried plum.
Dried plum, yeah. Good. How did you choose the variety? What was the idea what variety to take it as a first?
It was the beginning of Lara. I'm in an area where there's no history of walnut. I'm not in Périgord, I'm not in Grenoble, I'm in an area, I'm the only one with walnut. So I don't have any pressure because of Franke, because of all varieties. I start with my own things. And it was the beginning, but the very, very beginning of Lara. We speak of this variety, and I put Lara in my soil. Hopefully for us it works. It was a good variety for us. But I have some Franket too, in case of. But now I want to cut the
like ours are doing. So my son would use. What was the main issue in the beginning? What was your idea? Did you put the irrigation from the beginning?
Because my education, I was at school for orchard manager. I know how they do with apple, with cherries, so I take this technique, but it's very different than usual walnut grower. Because of the variety, I was thinking about what happened in California, and I start at the beginning to plant good healthy trees with a nice preparation of the soil. Put grass the first year, put irrigation the first year, put fertilization the first year, and choose the density like apple, like they do in California at this time. And from chemical, it arrives slowly and slowly. I start to use chemical only when it was needed. Nothing before the third year, but with the first harvest, I start to use copper, I start to use mancozeb, I start to use some insecticide. When I see that it's needed, not before. At the beginning, we use herbicide, of course, to control the weed on the road, and the mower for everything else.
So your idea is to use between rows to grass and to cut grass, natural grass, or you could.
We seed the grass. We seed the mix of raygrass, but English raygrass, that is the small one, and festook. Festook is like raygrass installed itself at the beginning, and after festook take the grow and is used.
And on rows you use herbicides. How it was in the first years? Did you use some protection for the walnuts?
For the first orchard, I don't think I have some protection. Now we use protection, but for the first orchard, it was the first
like
year.
this plastic.
Now we use that.
Plastic tubes.
With this plastic, we can use glyphosate to as herbicide. It's more easy to control. Yes, and they protect the trees.
Okay, and you told that you have about 30 hectares of walnuts now.
30 hectares of walnuts.
So you, as I understand, you have more varieties now than Lara. So
I have 4 varieties. Half of them are Lara, and Chandler after, and Franket and Howard. Howard only 2 hectares because it's the last one I planted and don't have more land, more field to plant.
How old are these orchards? You say they are from 89, so it's more than 30 years old?
In 89 I put Franket. 90 I put the first orchard of Lara. 90, 91, 92. Then after I plant hazelnuts and come back to plant walnut on another field in 2010, another Lara, then Chandler, and then in 2013.
Howard. So it's young orchard. Okay. So it means you have orchard that's already more than 30 years old.
Yeah.
Yes. So how do you think how how long this orchard could stay? What is the world experience? What's the experience?
Some part of the orchard are now too old. We lose a lot of trees because of some waterlogging, with some problems, some disease with nematodes, some disease of Phytophthora, and some parts on the same age can stay, I think, 10 years more. I don't know exactly. Depend of the problem. Depend of the soil. After 30 years, some parts I have to remove them. And
do you agree what usually Americans saying that the orchard commercially could be grown for 35 years?
For example, I have some Franket. They are very healthy. They grow 3 tons by hectare. What is a lot for Franket, but it's less than Chandler and Lara. So it could be interesting to cut them back, prepare a new land, and put something new at the place. But it's not because of the age; it's because of the variety. But for Lara, there is some place. It's because of the age. At 30, they are too old. 35, I think it's too late. It's time to change.
If speaking about the productivity, let's say in your orchard, Lara, how productivity it was, how production show in your orchard?
During 10 to 15 years, I have to look exactly. We have an average of 6 tons by hectare of dry walnut. Yeah. Now fall down, because there is some young trees, and it's difficult to know when we harvest all together. So I can't. But I know they produce lower. We lose a lot of trees. So some parts, I think on all the orchard, we lose about 10% of the trees because some plots are dead, definitively dead. Chandler, for the time I don't. So this is young Chandler. I don't grow more than 4.2 tons by hectare for the time. But each year it's more and more, and I expect to arrive to 6 tons. But they are very close together, and I think they are too close. So perhaps I have to remove some trees.
What the scheme to use?
The
Chandler
7 by 3.5. Yeah. I think it's too close. Now we know how to grow them, so we make bigger tree than at the beginning, and 7 by 3.5 is too close. That's right for that's good for Howard, but it's a small tree. But for Lara and Chandler, it's too close. I think 8 by 4, 8 by 5 is perhaps 8 by 6.
It's better. It's an option.
1 meter between rows.
They are good when they are young, but when they are growing up, so then
it's very interesting because at the young time you have quickly a lot of walnuts, but after it's too close, you don't know how to manage them. The only solution is to cut one.
One. So Howard, it's a new variety what you planted. So how you see this variety?
This is not a new variety. This is a new variety for us because it's the same selection as Chandler, same parents, same father, same mother, same time for the selection. So it's I think 50 years old variety, but we just start to grow it, and it's very interesting because this is a small tree. He grow a lot of walnut, big walnut like Lara, round walnut, with perhaps better quality than Lara, less than Chandler, not so good quality as Chandler. But it's a tree very sensitive to conditions. You need to have a lot of water, you need to have a good soil, you have to good fertilization because it's a small tree and it can stop to grow rapidly. You need irrigation, so I say. And it's very sensitive to, like Lara, it's very sensitive to chlorosis, iron deficiency. Don't know why, but some varieties are like that, and we have to put iron in the soil. It's difficult.
And the harvest is later than Chandler?
Earlier, it's like Lara, It's the same leafing date, it's an early variety, exactly like Chandler, 1 or 2 days of difference, but it's difficult to see. But harvest time is like Lara, it's the earliest we have.
Why did you decide to plant 3 varieties, not only one, say?
Because first we have to manage the harvest. We have two things: the risk of spring frost. So with different leafing date, the risk is different. And for harvest, it's more easy to have a long time of harvest. So to have early harvest variety, a late harvest variety, and like Chandler, a middle harvest variety.
So it means you need less machines.
Yeah, with the same machine.
If you have one variety, so you have three machines more, or equipment more. And first one is minimize the risk during the frost. I mean, if frost comes.
It's interesting for Fernor. I don't have Fernor, but my neighbor has Fernor. It's interesting. This in spring is interesting Fernor and França because they are late leafing, so less problem of frost damage. So we know you built your processing house in your farm for washing all nuts, for unhulling all nuts, for drying all nuts, for storing them. What's your opinion? What you say? Does any farmers need to do such houses? I'm saying if it's a small farmer with few hectares, saying does he need to build such houses, processing houses, or they could use like your services or another big farmer services? When I start, we were alone in the area, so we plant enough orchard with my neighbor because I have 30 hectares of walnut, but my neighbor have 30 hectares too. So it's 60 hectares together. We decide to plant this because it's a minimum quantity to have our own harvesting machine, own hulling line and own dryer. I think in France there is a big problem. Labor is very expensive, so you can't do nothing by hand in the orchard. You can't harvest by hand; it's impossible. You need 100 walnuts to make 1 kilo, and if you try to pick up by hand 100 walnuts, it spends too much time.
You need a lot of people.
So you can't imagine what you can do by hand. So you need machine. For small farm, it's more easy to find some people who you can contract to do the job for you. And it's what we propose now. We have a big machine for harvesting. Sometimes we do some small harvest for some people, but just small because we have enough for us. And for washing and drying, it's the same. We used to wash and dry about 400 to 500 tons of walnut and hazelnut. But my production for the time is only 150. All the other are from my neighbor, from other people who ask me to do it for me.
So you're providing services to another farmers.
They arrive with truck, they put the walnut, we put their walnut in the machine, they come back and harvest and become. And your 30 hectares of orchard, how many people work during the season? During the season, there is 3 to 4 people in the orchard. One for the shaker, one for the sweeper and blower, and one for the harvester. Sometimes I take the truck to move the harvest to the factory. This is for orchard part, but it's the same people that do my orchard and the orchard of my neighbor. We work together for harvesting. So with 3 people in the orchard, we manage 60 hectares of harvest. And I'm just with the truck to move to carry the harvest. And when the season starts, saying from the spring to harvest, how many? Officially, I'm alone. But now, because sometimes I come here,
you consult that.
And it's the mayor of my town. I spend a lot of time everywhere. So one people is working, is doing some simple thing on my orchard. I like to do it by myself, but I don't have enough time. So I pay someone to drive tractor for spraying.
But
for
there's two people, at least two people.
One people is enough.
Is enough for
between the winter and just during harvest we need more people.
If you see the future of Moldova, you think that you told that it's a potential for Moldova to grow walnuts. Do you see that the image of the Moldovan walnuts could be improved in Europe? Because we had that it's East Europe, Moldovan walnuts, they are lower priced. Why do you think it's?
It's one of my goals to be here. It's what the base of because some people in West Europe, in France, come here buy some walnuts at a low price with poor quality and say yes, but why do you want I pay you €3? We find some walnut in Moldova at 1.2, 1.5 euro. So it's not good. And when you propose on the market a good quality, more people eat walnut. It's not a problem. Yeah. The problem is not the capacity of the market. There is a limit, like everywhere. And sometimes this is not the right adequation. Yeah. But in the long term, people can eat walnut if they are good, if they are with good quality, good size, good color, good taste, good. And you prove me by some samples that you have some good walnut to eat. Yep. So everybody has to do this quality. And to do that, you have to be more professional, with a good machine, with a good cooling line, good dryer, and slower and slower it can become a good quality. I think perhaps it could take a long time to change the image, the picture of Moldovan walnut, but if the opportunity is at the right moment, it could change very quick. But you have to stop to harvest these trees around the road to start in July, I think. It's not good quality, it's not market don't need that. So
what is your opinion about the American walnuts, because they're expanding and they're planting more and more? Will this affect the global prices, or?
I think the more that affects the global market is the competition, the fight between China and California, China and America. It affects everywhere in the world, change a lot of things. So now perhaps it became again stabilized. They expand their market because of the need of China. At 4 years or 5 years to 10 years ago, Chinese people went to California and buy all the harvest, and the price grow up. So because they win money, they plant. That's what everybody do. They change from peach or plum to walnut everywhere. Now, because of problem on the market, they win less money, so they stop to grow. They don't grow. They don't plant so many, and but they try to develop the market. So they spend a lot of money to promote the walnut. So it's a good thing for us.
This for us, yes, good.
But sometimes they have some trouble. Their quality is not so good. Hopefully for them, they are the biggest in the world. They make the market, but we can take some place with a good quality. We can take their place. But the average of the price is made by their quantity. How they manage their market.
But do you see anyhow there is place for everyone on this?
Of course. There is place for everyone if everyone do a good quality. But when the people want walnut, he eat the walnut and want one more. When he eat one and not good, have some trouble with his mouth. Now bad taste, it's not good for all the market.
Okay, and then last questions. What did you like more from Moldova besides the walnuts? So.
The wine.
Right.
I have the occasion to test some very, very good wine. It's something very interesting. Some good restaurants, some good weather, good beautiful nature. In winter it's not so nice, but in spring and summer it's a beautiful country. With I think a lot of possibility for people who want to go on.
So definitely you will come more times to Moldova.
Hope if you invite me, yes. With pleasure.
We will do so. Yeah, Pascal, thank you very much for your interview.
Thank you.
Really hope to see you more times to Moldova, and also I think Moldovan farmers will like to get more knowledge from you.
Hope I can give you something interesting for managing your orchard.
Definitely, yes. Thanks very much.